there are a lot of people, especially if you're a first generation entrepreneur, especially if you're, the first person in your family or your friend group to go out and start a business. People will try to tell you what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and they have absolutely no clue. What's good, go-getters? I'm Erica Smith, a Louisiana girl who left corporate and dove headfirst into digital entrepreneurship. I took everything I learned in my 11-year social media marketing and sales career, launched my online business, and made $20K in 2 weeks. But it wasn't long after I realized that making money is only a small part of running a successful company. And looking back, I could have used a lot of insight and direction. So I'm keeping it real on this podcast, doing all the research so you don't have to. Mindset, money, struggles, and setbacks are all safe topics here. Get ready to learn the marketing methods and sales secrets to scaling a successful digital business that serves both your purpose and your pockets. Consider this a cookout kickback with a touch of table talk networking. Your journey as an entrepreneur is definitely the ride of your life, but if you're ready to go get it, you're in the right place. Welcome to Go Getter. What's good, go-getters? Welcome back to Go Getter, the podcast, episode number 3. And if you have been rocking with us since the very beginning, you are officially a part of my favorite people. Like, you are a part of my people. And if you have not gone back and heard all the other episodes, make sure you run them back because they have been really good so far. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's super near and dear to my heart. Actually, in real time, I'm actually celebrating 6 years of entrepreneurship. So today's episodes, we're going to really get into what this journey has been like. This is something that I have, really been excited to talk to you guys about. It's really the entire purpose on why we created Go Getter from the beginning, which is to give you a very clear pathway into understanding business, marketing, starting a business from scratch, so we're going to talk about my journey today and so much more. So let's get right into it. My journey to entrepreneurship has really been one for the books, in my opinion, because there's so many things that have happened to me over the last 6 years that if you would have told me were a part of the journey to entrepreneurship, I probably would have been like, nah, I'm good on that. And one of the most important things I want to remind you guys for whatever season of business that you are in is that you have to always remember why you got started in the first place. I mentioned before in other episodes about how the more that you get closer to success, the more realistic your surroundings become, the more people really show you who they really are, and the more that you actually find out who you are yourself. And when I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I was incredibly naive. I've said this before, I was so incredibly excited about starting my business that I really thought that all there was to it was to just start and to get out there and to put myself out on social media and just get over the mental blocks of just really believing in myself and being able to do it. But the truth is that's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes down to entrepreneurship as a whole. So whenever I first started my business back in 2018, my entire purpose was to create additional income. Hey, Erica Smith really started out as something that was just a side hustle that I wanted to make some extra money from. My daughter was a little over 1 at the time. And, I was working a pretty decent job. I had started a few businesses in the past. It didn't quite work out. I was looking for business partners and couldn't really find a good fit. So I had went back into the traditional realm, but there was something that was always eating on the inside of me, always, every single day, just nagging on me, making me feel like I always was destined for more. So it really was that internal feeling pushing on me day in and day out, letting me know that there's more to life than what I'm living. There's more to there's more for me to experience than what I'm already experiencing. And, a lot of times people will say, that internal voice, is your purpose calling and speaking to you. And you really have to listen to it because a lot of times you don't know what's on the other side. And Steve Harvey has this really famous quote where he talks about the fact that at some point you have to jump. Every single successful person has to take that leap of faith without knowing what's on the other side. And I can 100% agree with that because whenever I went full time in 2019. We started the company in 2018. I went full time in September of 2019. But whenever I quit my job, I had no idea how the pieces were going to come together. I just had this really innate gut feeling that I was doing what it was I was supposed to do. But shout out to my husband, because if he would not have pushed me over the edge that day, child, I probably would still be in my head about it. And, that's why Go-Getter is so important to me. And I want you to pay attention to the thoughts that you're hearing in your head and then really pair them up against what you know for sure. So when you're listening to me pouring into you guys, like, I really want you to know that if you have those thoughts in your head and those things that are kind of pulling on your heartstrings about what you should be doing and knowing which direction you should go, you've got to follow that voice, because you really only have one purpose to live out. When everything first started out, the biggest hurdle that I had was knowing what exactly I was going to sell. I quit my job cold turkey, and I was like, look, I'm just going to go out here, get it done, whatever. The crazy thing about it is when I first quit, I had this high level of energy and I was really excited, like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm super confident. And then later on that evening, I was like, what did I just do? Did I really quit my job? So it is definitely a roller coaster of emotions. But what I did was, I talked to a friend and she told me, you know what, just go take a nap, like go sleep, go take a nap. Let all of this process and then try again fresh in the morning. And that's exactly what I did. So what I did was I put together a little bundle deal. It was a $9 deal and it had 4 different components in it. I believe it had a content calendar, a ebook that I had already written, like a 30-day business plan, a high ticket sales script, and a call with me. Now this is free game. All right. Just strictly for go-getters. This is exactly how I got started. Once I put that call in that bundle, I sold it for $9, but the call was the most valuable part of the bundle, because on that call is where I basically did a discovery call. I talked more with people about their problems and their issues with their business. I identified the marketing problems that they were having. And because of the experience that I had building my own business and working in sales and advertising, I was able to help them identify those spaces where they could potentially grow their profit margins in their business. So what I was doing was I was pitching my very first coaching program, and it was very messy. Like, I didn't have all the pieces together. I didn't have all the software, all the tech stuff. I did not have the fanciest equipment. Literally all I had was my laptop and the internet, food, water, Wi-Fi. And on those calls, I basically enrolled them into my program. The program was $1,000 and we sold 20 seats into that program. So when you guys hear on the intro that I quit my job and made $20K in 2 weeks, that's exactly how I did it. So let's talk about some of the most important lessons that I have learned along the way. Number 1, you have to listen to yourself first. There are a lot of people, especially if you're a first generation entrepreneur, especially if you're, the first person in your family or your friend group to go out and start a business. People will try to tell you what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and they have absolutely no clue. They will give you the worst advice. They will make you second guess yourself. They will make you get all in your head, and you will spiral out of control if you don't find your foundation in you first, and the true vision that God put in you so that you can stay on track. One of the things that I learned very quickly on is how easy it was for me to lose track and lose sight of my vision, and how easy it was for me to start focusing on other people's visions. And it wasn't even always necessarily the people around me. Sometimes it was me looking at other people's marketing strategies or other people's content or the way that other people were launching things, not realizing that all these people are in different seasons of business than I'm in, and that's something else. Like, you have to work your business for the season of business that you were in. You can't go and compare your level 5 with someone else's level 25, because the marketing strategies that they're using, the consistency of their content, the price point that they're charging, the type of people that they are serving, how they're packaging all of their products, all of that stuff is relative to what they have learned and the journeys that they've gone through with their own audiences. So it's really important to first root yourself in the season of business that you're in, and also clearly understand why you're starting in the first place. The second thing that I learned very quickly on is that cash injections and dead months are a real thing. when you're starting a business, sometimes you're in a season of selling, sometimes you're in a season of serving, and sometimes you're in a season of resting. And, for a while in the beginning, everything was happening so fast. We were getting so many new clients. We were getting so many new inquiries. Like, it was incredible. And it's kind of like, that's the season where I realized that, hey, this is only going to go as far as I can handle it. And capacity turned just into being an issue. So it was only a matter of time before I became a liability in my own business because I was the only one working everything. So we can talk about that in a whole nother episode, because I definitely want to talk about the importance of a team and the importance of having people who are on one accord and who understand how the business runs and they have the business at heart. Also, we had to go through COVID, and, 2020, 2021, everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wanted to start a business, and we had gotten started a couple years prior to that, but it was so difficult to find good quality talent. It was so hard. I talked to my friend Javon. Shout out to Javon. I remember when we first met, I would tell her all the time, like, girl, where were you at in 2020 when I was losing my mind, trying to find, talent and trying to find someone who understood. Like, I spent months trying to find the right fit for people and all of that. So, like, I'll tell you this, hire before you are ready. Like, start building your team, start praying and asking God to reveal people who should be a part of your team and your business, like, sooner than later, because it's a thing. Like, overwhelm is really a thing. The reality of it is, I'm really a simple girl at heart. Like, I'm not doing all this stuff for, like, the money. Like, don't get me wrong, the money is good, okay? But, like, I'm not doing these things for the money. I'm doing it for the freedom. I'm doing it for the legacy. I'm doing it for what we are building. And for me to achieve this level of success and then to kind of look around and be like, man, like, everybody feels some type of way. Sometimes it's really incredibly difficult when the blessing becomes the burden, when the thing that God has called you to do becomes the very thing that people become so incredibly envious of you for. And the entire time, all you're wanting to do is just show up for them. So I had to quickly learn that, even though I want to do this for other people, they are not the ones who are going to be able to show up for me. So let's talk about the process of building and managing a team, because this has been another area that over these last 6 years has been quite something. So for those of y'all who don't know, my husband has and still is working in the business with me. We have had some seasons, child. Like, anybody who works with their spouse, you can feel me on this. Working with your spouse, I believe, is a ninja crafted spirit type of thing. Like, you have to know how to maneuver, because when you share a workspace and you share a life with someone, it can bring in a lot of unusual struggles and things that you have to overcome, because there's like power struggles and stuff like that. So in the process of me building a team, I definitely had to go through a lot of self-reflection, because a lot of times I really felt like I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't really good at communicating that over to the team. Figuring out which positions that I needed to fill was also something that I had struggled with, because when you're running a business and everything's on fire at the same time, you don't really know which thing you need to prioritize. Like, do I need a graphic designer? Do I need a videographer? Do I need someone to answer the phone? Do I need someone to respond to emails? Do I need someone to manage my calendar? Do I need someone to film me? Do I need someone to edit these videos? Like, everything feels like it's equally important, because as a solopreneur, you're equally running everything. So when one thing is on fire, everything goes on fire. And that's the hardest part about identifying who you need to hire and why. So the quicker that I realized that, the easier it became for me to really start identifying which part of the process is something that I can automate, or which parts of the process are things that I can automate, and then which parts of the process can I hand over to someone else to take care of. So we started out with an EA that has really helped us. She's been with us for a minute, and she has come in and basically taken off all of the miscellaneous tasks. A lot of the things also in the business we've automated with different automations within the software. So a lot of things like when someone submits an inquiry, they automatically receive an email response. When someone pays a retainer, they automatically get sent the scheduler. Just little things like that that I would have otherwise had to stop what I was doing in the middle of my day to then send to them. So just really utilizing a lot of these software systems for what they're really designed to do, just to make our lives a lot easier. The first few years of Hey Erica Smith was really hard for me because it was difficult for me to find balance because, well, part of it was because I was totally in love with what I was doing. I was obsessed almost. I never had experienced work that I truly loved and truly lit me up. But it was only a matter of time before I realized that I was working entirely too much, too many long hours, too many long weekends, just long stretches of work. And the hardest part was that it never felt like work. It felt like it was something that I wanted to do. And I mean, I still love to do it. You know, I realized how important it is for me to have that work-life balance. So some of the challenges in figuring out that flow and figuring out that balance is setting up your week in a certain way. So some of you guys may know we started a 4-day work week this year, and it's been a little bit of a struggle, just really letting go of not working or letting go of the Friday workflow and getting all of our clients adjusted to that and getting our own workflows adjusted to that. Like it was quite a task, but you have to go into your calendar and you have to identify first the hours that you're working. So because you don't have a regular lifestyle where you clock in and out, where you have a schedule that you have to show up for, you're the one creating that. It requires a ton of discipline. So something that I started doing was in my calendar, I currently block off the times that I'm working. And then I have a start time and an end time. So I have a startup day, a 30-minute block, and then I have an end of day 30-minute block at the top and the end of my day. And that helps me create intentional time to start the day. So that's where I check emails and that's where I kind of review what my tasks are for the day, or I just really get prepared. And then that 30 minutes at the end of the day is where I take time to wrap up anything. I set myself up for success the next day and go from there. And those time blocks in my schedule every week has really helped me to be able to balance everything. That's a really big strategy that's been extremely effective. And once I realized that a lot of the work that I was doing on Friday was really like, just wrap up stuff. We really were trying to end our days on Fridays in the middle of the day anyway. So, once I identified that we were only probably spending about 2 or 3 hours on Friday, what we've done is we've just gotten way more intentional about putting those tasks in the Monday through Thursday time blocks, and we don't miss a boat. And now Fridays are spent for self-care, going to lunch with my daughter, hair done, nails done, like just everything did, like those are my days where I just kind of just chill out and just really rest. In the beginning, it was somewhat difficult to scale just because scaling was always a goal of mine, but it was really difficult to identify how we can structure the business to be able to adequately scale in a way that would not blow us all out and just exhaust us. So, like I said, hiring before you're ready, finding those independent contractors who can take some things off of your plate, getting an executive assistant. Those are some things that we put into place to allow us to be able to scale the business to the point to where we are now. So right now we're currently running 3 different divisions inside of Hey Erica Smith. We've got HES Design & Co., which is our website design agency. We design funnels, content, that kind of thing. We have HESU, which is our university where we teach sales funnels. And then we have, of course, Go Getter here, the podcast. So we have been able to diversify our income pretty well over the last 6 years. And we're really excited about the goals that we have, because now that we have systems in place, we've got automations, and we have a pretty solid team now. We've got some pretty big goals that we're looking to achieve this year, but we're feeling really confident about them. All right, so let's talk about money, because, I kind of touched on this in the beginning, but being able to stay on top of your finances is everything. Separating your personal and your business, business transactions and that type of thing, like that has got to be one of the lessons I learned when I first started with my accounting team, I remember I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so new to all of this. And it was a time like separating the transactions and making sure that everything was good so that tax time was not crazy. And then, like I said, some of those months where you have these huge cash injections, and then other months you're too busy trying to make sure all your clients and your students are taken care of, that you're not focused on marketing. And then, you have lower revenue months, like making sure that you're saving at least 30% of every single transaction, putting it back for refunds, things like that. We've done pretty good with refunds. We've probably only given maybe 3, maybe 4 or 5 refunds in 6 years, which is wild. But God, I just thought about that. But no, that's really great. So we have a really great success rate as far as not doing refunds and stuff like that. So but just making the time to make sure that you're fine, or prioritizing the time to make sure that your finances and stuff are good, because you just never know what you're going to get. Staying on top of tracking your estimates. I do a lot of forecasting in the business. I try to do a lot of predictions on setting the goals for our marketing plans and making sure that, we're able to hit our goals and that they're realistic. But the financial element of everything in the business is really important. So if you have not already started managing your finances, you need to start doing that. That's something else. Also, in another season, in the beginning, I used to be so afraid. I won't say afraid. I just didn't want to do it. I did not want to sit down and look at where we were. I didn't want to sit down and think about what we've done for the month. But the reality is, if you don't sit down, if you don't look at your numbers every month, you don't know where you're going. You don't know how to make those decisions, and you'll end up making poor financial decisions because you don't have a realistic look at how the business is performing. Okay, so the power of networking and building relationships in entrepreneurship is also incredibly important, because a lot of our business came from referrals. So making sure that you have a way to encourage your customers and clients to refer their friends and family to you, you are they are the best recommendation for you to send you new business. So if you focus on weaving in, especially if it's automated, you focus on weaving a more automated system into helping people remember why, or helping people to remember to refer people to you. That's really powerful for growth, because it helps you to network and get into circles that you otherwise would not have been in. I had a lot of really incredible clients come from referrals. So we love referrals. But if you're not already working with some type of referral system, make sure that you inject that into your business as well. So I want to give you guys a little bit of advice before we head out for this week's episode. If you have a dream of starting a business, or if you already have a business and you're just trying to figure it out, the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is to seek wisdom from someone else who's either already in your industry, or someone that you can get mentorship from that you trust and that has proven results. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with students and clients in the past who have wasted so many dollars on so many different programs and mentorships and books and this and that, and they never got the results that they were looking for because it wasn't a good fit. I think that we're in a time now where people are way more smarter. They're way more aware of, how things work. They're way more aware of what they need. And you as a business owner, especially, it's more important for you to have clear messaging and have a clear method behind the marketing that you're putting out into the world, because people are looking for the solution that you provide, but your ability to deliver that solution for them is 100% connected to the marketing and how you're delivering it. So if you are, running a business currently, or you are thinking about starting a business, I would 100%, recommend that you seek out wisdom so that you can speed up the process and that you can get some clear feedback on where you are, so that you can be heading in the right direction and make sure that your message is getting out and hitting the right people. Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. This was way more chill. I think I'm getting the hang of just running this podcast. So yeah, and we're getting ready to bring on some guests and stuff coming up soon. So I don't know, y'all. I'm just, I'm still in awe of all of this. Like I said, today is our 6-year celebration anniversary. It is absolutely mind blowing. that we have been running Hey Erica Smith for 6 years, and tomorrow kicks off year 7. So we're really excited. I think it's a really great season that we're in. We're so grateful to you for being here. And remember, like, you have everything that you need. Everything that you need is already on the inside of you. You already have the skills. You already got the drive. You've already got the passion.